Hi there, everyone, and welcome. I will give everyone just a few more seconds before we start as I see attendees trickle in. A few more seconds and then we'll start things off. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session on Bridging Distances, Best Practices for ERG Engagement in a Virtual Workplace. My name is Laura Torres, and I am honored and excited to be here today for CHESI's second annual ERG Summit. So thank you so much for having me. I want to start off first with just sharing a little bit about myself. I am a U.S. Army veteran. I served for 6.5 years, and I have over 10 years in the HR space in both military and private sectors. And it was actually through the Army that I found my passion for DE&I work. I actually got assigned to become an equal opportunity leader. And so doing that work during my time on active duty is what really led me down to this work in DE&I. I am a mom of 2 boys, soon to be 3 boys, and I'm originally from Chicago, specifically the Humboldt Park area for any attendees that are Chicagoans here. And now, due to my active military service, I reside down south in the state of Alabama. I am the senior D&I business partner at Paycor, and I've been with them for 2.5 years. And we're an HR and payroll software company where we pride ourselves in focusing on empowering our leaders through responsive support, expert advice, and technology that evolves and grows with that meets the needs of our clients. And within that role, one of my responsibilities is managing the overall success of our ERGs. And I'm very passionate about fostering leadership and community within our workplace. And I believe that a well-supported ERG network is key to achieving this. So today I will be sharing some insights and strategies on ERG engagement in a virtual workplace. I will add that if you can please hold questions until the end of the presentation. This slide deck, along with a handout for additional content and ideas, are available in the resources tab for you to download. All right, so let's get started. I first wanted to start off with defining what ERG engagement means to us here at Paycor, because when you go online and you look up how to measure ERG engagement, we encounter a wealth of information, right, and various ways to measure it. And this could be very advantageous when you're initially researching what are the most effective ways to track ERG engagement. However, based on my experience and working in a remote setting with an ERG network and leaders, I found that these methods and suggestions are not always universally applicable based on where your organization is at and where your ERGs are at. So while they serve as a great starting point, and again, great advice out there, I personally decided to consult with our ERG leaders and determine if the suggested approach on how we were going to track ERG engagement was the most suitable for where we were at in our journey to tracking the right metrics. And so through discussions and feedback from the leaders, I came to understand that it was important for us to distinguish between active and passive engagement. And both data points play a crucial role in painting the complete overall picture and telling that story of ERG involvement. So for us, we decided to define active engagement as someone that holds a membership role in that ERG and is actively assisting in accomplishing those ERG outcomes to drive that positive change. So it's someone in your committee, someone with a membership chair role, or however it is that you define those key roles within your ERG. Whereas passive engagement are members that are not yet ready to hold an actual active role within that ERG, but they still want to join and support your ERG through attending events and just staying up to date with information that's being put out with that ERG. And so, of course, tracking that active ERG engagement helps with measuring the level of employee involvement. It gauges the impact of each of the ERG's initiatives, and it helps identify any potential areas for improvement. Tracking passive engagement allows our leaders to see if there's an appeal for their ERG and how many people are interested in joining over time. So throughout this presentation, when I'm referring to ERG engagement, I'm referring to both types, the active and the passive. And also throughout the presentation, I will share out some Paycor spotlight examples. And within these examples, I will make sure to identify what type of ERG engagement is that an example of. So let's take a look at some key statistics on ERG engagement. And I found these on a variety of sources like HR Dive, SHRM, Forbes, and Diversity Best Practices of 2024. And these statistics clearly highlight the current engagement levels within the ERG community, the impact on workplace culture, positive feelings of community and belonging, and employee loyalty. And these are all great things and very true. And what some might even say is the secret sauce for a thriving and inclusive workplace. However, what these numbers don't really specify is whether they're based on in-person, hybrid, or fully remote ERG engagement. And although there are many wonderful benefits to being fully remote, there's also some downsides to it. Things like Zoom fatigue or Teams fatigue, whichever platform your organization uses for meeting, being in back-to-back meetings, hard to disconnect when you're at home, feelings of isolation, and making it very difficult to make connections and build on those interpersonal relationship skills that are just different when you're virtual versus when you're in person. So we're on to our very first poll question. And before I launch it, the question is, how connected do you feel to your ERG community while working remotely? I will go ahead and launch that question now. And I'll give everyone about 30 seconds to respond, or 45 seconds around there, depending on how fast you guys are responding. It seems like, oh, wait, we still have a few more people voting. All right, here we go. Let's share out the results. So I'm actually shocked to see this. A lot of you feel moderately connected. So that's a good thing. I'm used to hearing more that they're slightly connected with their ERG members when you're fully remote. But hey, great to hear that you all feel that you're moderately connected with your ERGs. That's awesome. Close that out. So thank you so much for that transparency and that honesty. With our ERG leaders, they definitely expressed to me early on some of the challenges that they were having with membership engagement being fully remote. And they were asking like for suggestions, what are some best practices on how we can improve on this? And so thanks to that collaborative team effort that we have and brainstorming sessions that we had, we were able to come up with some 3 methods that helped our ERG membership engagement in a virtual setting. And those methods are innovating virtual events, building effective communication strategies, and fostering connections. So the first method on innovating virtual events, it's really important to offer a mix of activities and events. So whether that's creating an interactive blog where you're sharing out a story, encouraging people to also share a story or their input on a particular topic, while also incentivizing that participation with a prize or a gift card, offering a cooking segment featuring a topic of interest, like someone's journey to leadership, but also it's important to incorporate creating a psychological safe space for your community. And you can do that with virtual coffee chats and invite a particular community to come and talk and share their perspectives, or you can ask them what topics they would like to talk about. And just a quick example would be if your organization has a veterans ERG, a veteran, and that community has an active service member community, which are reservists or National Guardsmen, and you invite that particular community to come in for a virtual coffee chat and allow them to just share what are the challenges being a reservist, and having 2 different careers and balancing 2 different lives. What are some of the wins of them working for this particular organization and being a reservist or a National Guardsman? And you, as the ERG leader, that affords you the opportunity to learn how you can continue to support that particular group and also advocate for them. Another idea would be to leverage your network or your connections. And I think we learned earlier that ERG budgets vary from industry to industry, and they vary from the organization size. So keeping in mind that ERG budget could be tighter for some. For example, here at Paycor, we're not super big. We're under 3,000 employees. Just know that innovation does not have to cost you money. Get to know your colleagues and your members, because you never know what hidden talent or inspiring story is behind each person. And leveraging their skills and talents to be part of a potential future event, trust me, is going to be very impactful. And that's just a flyer there of one of our ERGs who leveraged some of their internal senior leaders to participate in a fireside chat instead of having to hire a costly guest speaker. Another idea would be to build a relationship and partnership with your corporate learning team. And this is a way that ERGs can ensure that their members have access to ongoing learning and developmental opportunities. This could also help attract more members and increase engagement when your ERG is focused on development and enhancing that professional growth. It also lends credibility to your ERG's initiatives, and it shows that the organization supports and values the ERG's mission. Another just quick plug in an example here. Our mental health ERG had a really good partnership with our enterprise learning team or our corporate learning team. And they actually got invited to conduct 2 Paycor client webinars on how to start a mental health ERG and the importance of mental health awareness in the workplace. And so this is significant because it made that community feel seen, feel heard, and it continued to encourage participation and engagement within that ERG. So our first Paycor spotlight here is on leveraging your connections. And this is our colorful ERGs. network, for Black History Month, they actually featured an employee's journey to becoming a 3-time self-published author, as well as the inspiration behind her why she became an author. And this event was impactful and effective because, number one, because they leveraged their network, they provided this employee recognition piece that attendees really, really liked. It showcased the talent, the creativity, and the expertise of someone within the organization. And this particular individual just so happens to also work in the marketing department. Secondly, it helped build a supportive community. It brought employees together to celebrate the achievements of their colleagues. And it actually tied in really nicely with one of our guiding principles, which is taking care of each other. And taking care of each other can come in various forms, like supporting the personal and professional growth of one of your associates or employees and elevating their work to the business as a Black author during Black History Month. And lastly, it inspired and motivated attendees. And here are just some snippets of some of the quotes of the actual event from the attendees. It demonstrated to individuals within the organization that they can pursue passions and achieve significant milestones outside of their professional roles. So this is an example of both activating that active engagement and passive ERG engagement. They activated the active ERG engagement because through this event, it encouraged participation within their future planning committees for Heritage Months, meaning more people volunteered and raised their hand to want to volunteer and be in active roles within the planning committee. So that is active ERG engagement. It's also passive engagement because through that event, they were able to expand their reach to more employees that honestly just didn't know much about who Colorful Connections is. But because their colleague was being featured, now they wanted to continue to support events like this and stay informed about any future upcoming events. Our next method is building effective communication strategies. Now, in a virtual workplace, it's super important to use eye-catching visuals to drive interest and engagement. And one way to do that is through ERG newsletters. They're a great communication strategy to help share updates, highlight upcoming events, how to get involved, spotlight members, add incentivized games like word search or crossword puzzles, which I have seen be done internally with our ERGs, with their ERG newsletters. And it's just a different asynchronous way to engage membership. And I don't know about y'all's organizations, but here at Paycor, everybody loves to win a piece of swag, especially if it's ERG swag. And so that's always a really big, huge incentive to get people to participate. Another strategy is sharing the what's in it for me and what's in it for the business. It is so crucial to provide clear explanations on how to get involved. What are the ERG membership roles and responsibilities? Please don't assume that when people join your ERG, they know what you want them to do or what's expected of them. Remember that some people may have never been involved in ERGs before or just don't have that experience in leading events. Also, share how does being involved make a business impact? What are the goals your ERG is focused on? And how is that tied back to the company and overall DE&I strategy? When you highlight these opportunities and skills that you can obtain from being an active ERG member, it will help boost that active engagement, especially if employees are looking for that growth that developmental opportunity. And again, when you're in a virtual setting, you tend to get siloed and you put these blinders on and you only see within your own function. You forget about what else is out there. And it gives you an opportunity to get involved within the organization outside of your day-to-day role. Collaborating with your internal comms team. They are the experts in crafting and delivering effective messages to various audiences. And they will help you tailor your communication to different employee segments, departments, locations. They also help you provide insights on the frequency of the messaging, as well as analytical data from the intranet side of your company's webpage. So if you're not already working with your internal comms team, highly suggest that you reach out to them and start building that relationship, because they understand best practices for reaching employees, and they're going to help you with ensuring that your message is clear, it's consistent, and it's engaging. And the last suggestion here is refreshing internal ERG pages. And I feel like this one really gets overlooked, and I totally understand why. Doing ERG work, it's a voluntary thing. And, when you think about refreshing your internal page, it just sounds like so much work. But I promise you, putting up the work up front is going to reap you a lot of benefits and rewards later. And just remember that ERGs are dynamic groups and they evolve over time. So refreshing your ERG page is another communication strategy that allows ERG leaders to reflect and communicate their growth, the ERG's achievements, any change of priorities. And when there's outdated information and even inactive links, like if you have a join us type of link on there and it doesn't even work and people can't even join, it really leads to confusion and disengagement among employees. And it really undermines the effectiveness of your ERG communication efforts. So make sure, take the time, add that fresh content, make sure that those links work. Share your ERG membership roles, what your mission is, what are the different pillars. Share engagement stories from your actual members. Highlight past events, add photos, videos, whatever you need to do to grab that attention from your employees and encourage them to want to become active participants within your ERG. Our next paper spotlight is all about refreshing internal ERG pages. And I always advise our ERG leaders to treat their ERGs like a mini organization. And no, I don't mean for them to go and delegate the work to everybody on their team. That is not what that means. It means that companies have strategies, communication strategies. They have onboarding processes. They have a strategy for how do you enhance the user experience? How do you enhance our branding? And to do the majority of all this, they need to update and refresh their websites. So why not do that with your own? And that's exactly what our young professionals ERG did. And this has been, let me tell you, so effective because they provided a whole section on how associates, I'm sorry, I say associates, but I mean employees, that's just how we refer to them, how they can get involved. It communicates what the roles are, what the responsibilities are, what the time commitment is being involved. And honestly, it really helps not just members, but employees in general that are just curious to learn more how to make informed decisions about their level of involvement. It really empowers them to be able to make that decision. It also tells them the what's in it for them. It shares out what skills are needed or the skills that are going to be gained by being in these roles. And they also added some captivating graphics that are obviously very Paycor branded. They created an easy-to-use navigation system for people to clearly understand what their mission is, what each of their pillars are, and when you click on each of their pillars, it takes you to a whole separate page, and you can see the different events that have been hosted for each of those pillars and how they've made a business impact. They have photos, some videos, and it's just an overall very inviting page for people to see. So when someone is exploring, they're like, hey, this actually looks fun. I want to be a part of that. And it, like, again, encourages people to want to join. And I personally have observed the significant growth and heightened level of involvement with this particular ERG. They went from a decline in active membership to a very impressive and engaged group. In fact, in a meeting recently with our internal comms team, coming full circle here, they shared some analytics about our intranet site, and they shared that the Young Professionals ERG page was the third most viewed page on the intranet site with over 19,000 views. It also had the second highest ranking with most likes and comments, which I was amazed. I was blown away, and I was so excited, and I couldn't wait to share that with them. They were also just as happy. But this is a prime example of how they successfully fostered that active engagement by building an effective communication strategy that involved refreshing their ERG page so they, put in the work and sharing the what's in it for them and what's in it for the business. All right, now we're on to a chat question. And the question is, what challenges do you face when trying to connect with ERG members remotely? So drop your answers in the chat. I am going to open it up and see what some of your responses are. Give everyone about a minute or so. Timely responses. Oh, okay, now you guys are going fast. Time, yeah, people are busy. Time. Engaging agendas. I agree with you, Tanya. She said some of our ERGs struggle to create engaging agendas virtually that keep members coming back. Lack of response. Oh, turning on cameras for engagement. Yeah, that's a huge thing for us here at Paycor. We're very much have your camera on so that we can connect with each other because, we have employees throughout the US and even globally. People are hesitant to speak up as to not interrupt others virtually. Accessibility when we need answers. Hourly employees can't make the meeting. Time zones, yep. Love all these responses here. Getting members to relax and enjoy the moment. Oh, we are a camera off organization, so it's hard to get people to turn them on. Busy with our day jobs, yeah. All right, thank you everyone for sharing your experiences in the chat and being honest and very transparent. I love it. Finding creative ways to engage them, ways that are quick and easy. Totally agree with everything that everyone shared in that chat. And this actually segues perfectly into our final method, which is fostering connections. And so one suggestion that I have, and something that we've also done internally, is provide a virtual open house. And this does not always mean new hires. It could also be applied to employees within the organization. If you don't like the term, open house, you can rephrase it to an ERG roadshow, if that sounds better. But basically, the whole point is to provide a platform for employees to come together and celebrate their shared interests, backgrounds, and experiences. And it does create this opportunity to network and connect with others from other departments. So through an open house or roadshow, however you want to call it, it demonstrates that commitment that the company has for ERGs so that employees feel supported and empowered to bring their best selves to work. And it also works as a good recruitment tool. The next idea is collaborating with other ERGs. And that's important because ERGs often have common goals and interests and focus areas. And through that collaboration, employees can have a shared sense of camaraderie that strengthens their connections. And of course, you can also amplify your impact and reach. And here's a quick picture of one of our flyers with our Young Professionals and Colorful Connections ERGs. They partnered for a career panel event for AAPI month. And it was just really great to see, for our employees, I should say, to see them work together and how that intersectionality exists and how these different ERGs can still build those relationships and support one another and create a more inclusive and supportive work environment. The next tip is recording events. Recording events actually foster connectivity by accommodating individual needs and preferences, and it ensures that employees can engage with the content in a meaningful way. These events, when they're recorded, can serve as a valuable resource for knowledge sharing. Employees can refer back to it and share it with colleagues, use it as a reference for any future projects or discussions. And it promotes that accessibility for employees with different work arrangements, time zones, and personal circumstances. And lastly, the use of co-working spaces. Obviously, when you have that physical face-to-face interaction, that's going to help build those relationships. And depending on how your organization is set up virtually, you can connect with your DE&I team or your HR team to identify what states or cities have the most populated employees. And then from there, you can schedule some ERG meetups. You can host multiple ERGs if they're all located in a particular area. And you can leverage that as a way to not only connect with members within your own ERG, but members outside of your ERG and expand your network and promote that intersectionality. Oops, sorry. And this is our final Paycor spotlight. It's all about virtual open houses. And at Paycor, we do provide an ERG open house. It does target new hires for this particular example, and we do it on a monthly basis. And it's our company goal to provide irresistible employee experiences. So of course, our ERGs are going to play a huge part in that. And so it allows them to showcase who they are, what their mission is, and their why they're involved, and share that with our new hires. And with this particular example, this is our Wing ERG, and this is one of their slides for the open house. And what I really liked about it is at the very bottom, they list all three of their pillars that they focus on. And underneath their pillars, they included an actual impactful business event for each of their pillars. And so I'll go over just one because I'm running out of time, and that's their Connect pillar. It's all about enhancing the connections of women at Paycor through allyship, networking, and community service. So every year they put on a WIN retreat, and everybody always raves about it. They want to be involved. It's through an application process because unfortunately we can't fly everyone over to HQ. Only a certain number can attend. And it's just a really great event. Last year, the focus was on addressing burnout, sharing stories, and just building lasting relationships with other women. And this is an example of both active and passive engagement. It's considered active engagement because it showcases that business impact that's achieved through each of their pillars with an event. And this ERG has been very successful in motivating new hires to immediately ask, hey, I want to join. How do I get involved? And it's also passive engagement because it keeps their membership numbers growing because there's an interest and there's an appeal for that particular ERG to exist. So we're at the end, and I'm sorry, I know I talked pretty fast there towards the end, but thank you so much for having me during this session. I really hope that you all found these strategies and methods helpful and found that the examples that you can try within your own ERG. And just remember that if you are virtual first, ERG engagement is crucial in fostering inclusivity, collaboration, and employee well-being. And I would love to hear from you. And if I don't know, I think we have like 4 minutes. I don't think I'll be able to answer any questions. I'm so sorry. But connect with me on LinkedIn. There's the QR code. If you have any like super pressing questions, please make sure to connect with me and ask them. And I will 100% answer your questions on LinkedIn. Oh, the Win Retreat is not for ERG leaders only. It's for everybody in the business. They put it out and they announce it to everyone in the business. There is an application process, like I said, because we're throughout the United States and global. So obviously we can't invite all the women over to our HQ. So there's a limited number of seats that they could allow people to come and attend that particular retreat, and that's how they do it. All right, I don't see, is the open house just for new employees? For ours, it is. It's just for our new hires. Our ERG leaders specifically requested that they wanted an opportunity to be front and center with our new hires as a way to kind of gauge with them immediately when they come in versus, months after that they're there and they get bogged down with all the meetings. So that was an initiative that ERG leaders wanted to be involved in. And so I advocated for them to have an open house. Uh, National ERG Day is on November 17th. Our organization is hosting an open house for all of our ERGs. That's awesome. Okay, I think we have 2 minutes left here. So if I didn't get to your question, again, please connect with me on LinkedIn and I will be more than happy to answer that. Bye.